Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and this is Create Your Own Cozy. On this week's video, I am creating with Sonnet's Maker's Box. I am coming up with some projects from the wonderful goodies that I received in here in the mail. Such fun, happy mail. If you want to see what I create to get inspired, stick around. These are all, oh my gosh, made specifically for this box. You cannot get this anywhere else. Birds. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Ooh, I love the colors in this. Look at that. What am I gonna do? Oh my gosh. Okay, these papers are from the painted photographer. Look how beautiful. Those colors are perfection. Okay, and then here's what I got. I have In a Pickle. I have Prairie Sunset. I have Cast Iron. I've always wanted to try that one. Oh, and then look at this little whisk. That's really cute. Project number one is going to be starting with this gorgeous bird masterboard from Royce. This is a just for Sonnet's box Roycycled paper, and let's go ahead and get started. I grabbed this from the thrift store a while back and it's been in my stash. I paid $5.99 for it, but this little paper is kind of pulling up, so I have decided to replace it. They had the right idea. I want to make it more my style. First thing is I used a scraper to get as much as I could off on its own. And then I got it wet and have been scraping it. And this was kind of therapeutic, guys. To be able to see like your hard work and some elbow grease and get that up. It is a cardboard-like paper. And the first thing I'm going to use is the DIY paint from her Maker's Box in the color Weathered Wood. I have definitely used this color before, but I don't have a whole lot of projects with it. So it is nice to get me to use it again and remind myself what a great neutral this is. Now this is raw wood and it is soaking up this paint really well. But I ended up just doing one coat of this weathered wood. It is such a nice, highly pigmented paint. And I really loved the coverage and just did the one coat and then decided to wet distress it back to kind of, since it was originally wood, to kind of show some of that wood through there and have it be a little bit distressed, not crazy. So next I'm going to do a dry fit with the paper and kind of crease where I want to cut it. You think that the crease is in one spot, cut beyond the crease. It's easier to take the paper away than to put it there. And you can see when I put this paper over it, it is a light background, but there's definitely a yellow to the wood. So after I cut the paper to size, and to make sure it fits well, I decided to paint the wood with white Swan from DIY Paint. You can do it with any white paint. You're basically just giving a nice crisp white surface for that paper and all the colors that were designed in the paper to be bright and vibrant. So after that happens, I am getting out my DIY liquid patina. I love this for decoupaging, and I am just doing little strips at a time and putting the paper on and then putting the decoupage stuff on top and pulling out the wrinkles and the air bubbles. This is the way that I like to do it. A number of people decoupage differently, so just find what works best for you and you will get better each time. You will. I know it can be overwhelming, especially with a limited edition paper like this, to not mess it up because I can't just go grab new ones. But every project is going to get more and more professional looking, so don't be scared to start. Just start and enjoy the process. You'll see in the end on the other side, I did overwork the paper a little too much and there was a little bit of a mistake. Oh, I did not like it. But in the end, I feel like it kind of goes with the weathered look of the design. And I ended up sealing. DIY paint needs to be sealed so it doesn't reactivate, because it is reactivated by water. So I did end up going over this whole piece with liquid patina as a top coat, and I am really happy with how it turned out. Project number 2 is going to be nice and simple. I just grabbed a little 5x7 frame that I had in my stash, paid less than $1 for it, and I'm going over it with 2 coats of Fusion mineral paint in the color Prairie Sunset. This paint has a top coat built in and had really great coverage with that first coat. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any spots for the second coat. This is a beautiful yellow color. Yellow is not normally one of my favorites, but this yellow is very pretty, and I felt like it was a nice summery color to go with Connie's rice paper. Now, Connie's rice paper, there was an 8x10 size, and then there was one that came with a 5x7, and then 2 that are smaller. So her Sprinkling Blooms rice paper is what I used. I just cut it out to size with the glass from the picture frame and put it right in there. And this was a very easy and gorgeous, gorgeous upcycle. So Sonnet is definitely pushing me outside of my comfort zone with some of the colors she sent. I sell DIY paint, but I have never opened up the color kissing booth. And this little exercise in this maker's box is definitely something that made me step out of my comfort zone, and it was really good for my creativity. So instead of painting something, I don't know, like a piece of furniture in this bright, bright pink, I decided to go for a thrifted book and just did one solid coat. It was like a linen type cover, so it soaked up the paint pretty well. And I just did one solid coat. And I'm using the Perfectionist Paintbrush from DIY Paint, which is one of my favorites, guys. They're good for all sizes of projects and for precision. Next, I'm getting back out the bird masterboard, and I'm just using a wet paintbrush, this is just water, to kind of cut where I want to cut and have it be a rough edge. I do not want crisp edges on this one and want it to be a torn look, but this is a controlled torn look. So I'm just cutting the edges here, and I am doing it along the straight edge too, just so it has that same look. Next, since I'm going to be putting it over this bright, bright pink color, I want the paper to shine. So I'm just going to turn it over and paint White Swan on the back of the paper. And wait for that to dry completely before I decoupage it on top of the book. I'm just using liquid patina again to decoupage it on the book and then seal the whole book. Finishing it up with some twine and some greenery. And this is a nice little addition to a vignette in your home or in your booth. Very, very easy. All right, I went to 2 different thrift stores because I didn't feel like I had something special enough for this next paper from Royce. This one is called Summer Landscape and it is beautiful. I ended up finding this table. I had thrifted it like this. I put it in my booth like this and it did not sell. So I painted the whole top in white Swan. And now I'm going to decoupage this gorgeous paper on the top. Now, it does not cover the whole thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Am I crazy? Because you know what? I really wanted this to turn out special. So I'm lining up the top of it so that I just have a little bit to sand off the top, and most of the excess is going to be the bottom, which is the grass area. And I'm doing what Sonnet and Royce call starter strip, where I just put the liquid patina on a portion of it and then work out the wrinkles and air bubbles as I go. So I'm using liquid patina again and just working it through, making sure not to overwork this paper because, Heather, if you rip this paper, there are no more and it's too beautiful to ruin. So I am super aware of that. And then after letting it dry completely overnight, I took a little sanding block along the edge to get the edges all off. Now, originally I was thinking about getting the paint to come up over the edges, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just see if I can get some of the excess where the colors match as well as I can get it to cover the edge. And then if I do put paint up over the edge, it won't be like this white underneath. So this is what I ended up doing, is kind of scrapping the edges. And I ended up not bringing the paint up over the side like I was originally planning. I didn't think they stuck out as bad as I originally thought they were going to stick out. Would I have loved the paper to cover the whole thing? Yes. So next I'm going to use Sweet Pickins milk paint in a pickle. I love milk paint and I love Sweet Pickins. I have used this a number of times in my life and in prior videos. So you're basically doing a 50-50 mix of the paint and water. And I'm going to use this cute little whisk from Sonnet. You can use a fork or a knife or a little immersion blender, but you want to get it really blended and then let it sit for 10 solid minutes before you start to paint. It does get thicker and thicker over time, and then once you let it dry or harden, you can't use it anymore. So that's why I'm doing it in a disposable cup with a chip brush. Now, this is very green. I mean, again, colors I probably would not have grabbed, but this has been super good for me. I do kind of like the color of the blue that this originally was next to it, but I am going with using what is in my box and covering it one time with the milk paint, using my blow dryer to dry it, and then doing it again with the same mixture. So if you're going to do 2 coats, you need to make sure you're drying it so that the paint in your cup does not dry before you're ready to do the second coat. And with this project and the next project, I ended up using every drop of paint that I had mixed. It's kind of a little challenge I do for myself, and I am really, really liking the results. If you are covering over wood or a lighter color, you probably would not have needed that second coat, but I feel like the second coat really gave this color a richness. After I finished and let the second coat dry, I did sand it back with the intent of distressing it. That really allowed some of the colors from before, the blacks and the blues, to kind of come through. And then I went over the whole thing with clear wax, and let me know, is this gorgeous or what? Project number 5 is a wine brick that I had in my stash, didn't really know what to do with. I'm just going to use some air dry clay over this little indentation to kind of fill it in. I am going to end up putting rice paper over the top of it, so I'm not looking for perfection. I just don't want like little divots. So after this air dry clay completely dries, I sand it with a sanding block, get it as smooth as I can get it, and then I get off the dust and then go over the wine brick with 2 coats of the Sweet Pickins milk paint. Look how gorgeous that is. I did 2 coats of the milk paint, sanded it down, and then did the same approach on the 8x10 rice paper to get those torn edges, and I felt like it was too big for the piece. So I'm going to save that for another video and get the birds back out and find some birds that will work over the top. Originally, I was going to paint the back white like I did before, but decided let's let the paper be a little more muted and let the green come through and see how that looks. So I just used liquid patina to get that on and sealed the whole piece with the liquid patina. New things for me, guys, new colors, new approaches, but I am so thankful for the opportunity to create this week. Did you have a favorite paper or paint product from Sonnet's box? Let me know in the comments below what your favorite items were that she included in this box, and let me know what your favorite project that I work on, and if you got inspired to create as well. If you didn't get one of Sonnet's boxes, there will be a link in my description to show you how to get on her wait list for future boxes. If you're not going to do one of her boxes, please just use these videos as inspiration to create whatever you guys want to create. That is the whole purpose of these, is not to do exactly what these creators do or what I do. It's to get you guys inspired, to get your creative juices flowing and feed that creative soul. So if you're new here, I would love it if you would hit subscribe, hit your notification bell to all so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Last night, I got to go to the Dave Matthews Band concert with my longest and bestest friend, Alicia. I've known her since the 3rd grade, and we relived through music, through live music, some of our younger years by walking down memory lane with music, and had a lot of laughter, and it was really, really good for us. I am doing better this week. Last week I was in a funk. This creative box kind of helped me. I opened it and I knew this is what I needed to work with. I didn't have to make decisions. I just had to make choices. That was kind of good for me this week to get me kind of back in the mood to create, and I noticed that my mood increased, guys. So if you're feeling kind of down, like, start creating just for you, or start creating without worrying about the outcome. It really is good creative therapy. I hope that you guys are crushing your summer, and I'm excited to do some more DIY videos, and see you again next week. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.